The Farm Journal Legacy Project presents Leave a Legacy. And now, your host, Kevin Spafford.
Welcome to Leave a Legacy. Passion, the elixir of entrepreneurs, and so it is for an agripreneur as well. He starts a business only with a promise of a lot of hard work and uncommon risk. He invests in himself and bets on an idea, a concept that is intended to change the world. This agripreneur bet on himself and championed an industry that was all but forgotten. Clinton Griffiths will introduce us to Nicole Johannson and the family behind Lodestar Farms.
Neatly tucked atop a hill just off the rural roads sits an olive orchard spectacular enough to make even the Spaniards jealous. Yet these 100-year-old trees don't know the stories of inquisitions or revolution. This is an American tale from the northern forest of California. Welcome to Lodestar Farms in Oroville, a region that's been producing olives for more than a century. At the age of 56, widow Frida Eamon found herself penniless with nothing to her name but a 20-acre olive orchard. Through ingenuity and hard work, Frida founded an olive company, and today, history remembers her as the mother of the California black ripe olive. Even though there's no relation, Lodestar is trying to carry on that community tradition.
I really wasn't into farms. My father was a farmer, and he left Sweden because he didn't want to be a farmer.
This family business got its start when parents Carl and his wife decided to buy 20 acres to build their dream home.
You kind of take what you're given, and at the time my parents had bought the property with 20 acres of olives just to build a house.
Son Jamie heard about the move while in college at Colorado State.
That desire to farm, lurking somewhere deep within, and I just said, hey, what if I came home and see what we can do with 20 acres of olives?
His father agreed to let him run the farm as long as he, quote, got a real job too.
So here I'm in a new area. My parents, I don't have any support at all. I've left Colorado, which, my dad grew up there and I have a lot of family back there, and now my wife's family, but a lot of friends from college back there, and I was just like, here you are driving up a lonely road going, what kind of decision did I just make, and how deep is this passion?
Turns out that passion was pretty deep. Jamie began studying all he could about olives and spent the next few years learning the business.
The cooperative extension was just key in terms of getting the materials about olives, reading about farming. One of the extension advisors here wrote what we consider the Bible of the olive Bible.
But it didn't take long to realize 20 acres of table olives weren't going to pay the bills. That's when he decided to give olive oil a try.
Fortunately, at that time, olive oil was really on the rise in California. In terms of on the rise, there was 10 of us in California.
Standing at the starting gate, the Johannsons and Lodestar Farms have watched California olive oil find its way into the American market.
It's been interesting to watch the whole process of taking something from just a concept to ultimately discovering that here in Oroville we have a very unique flavor and style of olive oil. And while it was new to me, and while a lot of times California thinks that olive oil is kind of new on the scene, there's actually always been someone in Oroville doing olive oil for 100 years.
And more places are pouring oil than ever before. Today, there are over 400 different labels.
The best thing I did was make that step early because it was a pretty open community and it wasn't as competitive as it is now. And I think in general in agriculture, we're fortunate over other business and other industries is that there is kind of that we're in this together.
Currently, Lodestar is making its own olive oil under its own label, giving on-farm tours, running a tasting room, selling at farmers markets, and keeping up with the orchard.
You make it with a lot of thought, but you also make it with a lot of passion. And that's kind of where anyone in agriculture, and I even catch myself 20 years later when you meet someone saying, I want to be a farmer, you'll slow down. Let's think about how this works, but you're just filled with that passion.
Jamie's passion is now a passion of the entire family.
We work well together. That was established early on when we met, so part of what is great about our marriage is that we like to work together as well as have fun together, so.
She has an off-farm job at a local bank and comes home to offer support on the sales and marketing side. It's a life with a lot of moving pieces.
We just make sure that when we can't juggle it, someone's there to pick up the pieces and kind of carry it for the next person.
Survival mode would be an accurate term. We operate in survival mode a lot. Everything in the business, the buck stops with you. You are on 24/7, and people will say to us all the time, oh, you have a farm. You set your own schedule. That must be great to just be your own boss. And the part that is missing out of that for people is that you don't realize that the buck stops with you no matter what it is.
The elder Johannsons also pitch in when needed.
Well, mainly I just help out where I can and pay a few of the bills, and where he needs help, we help. And so we're just hoping to expand, and we have future plans that we're looking at.
Those future plans include adding on and making their home less of a stop and more of a destination. They're also hoping to one day have their own olive press, sell more oil, and offer their own style of table olive. But the businessman in Jamie knows it's not a good idea to put all of their olives in one basket.
We've reached a point where really we need to diversify, so planting other crops. So he's excited about that aspect now of moving that business, this farm, to the next level, which would be another crop that we could grow here, probably like a specialty citrus.
We have lots of dreams, but we're just going as fast as we can with what we have. And he's done pretty well.
I think for me down the road is that our kids have options, that if this is something they want to carry on, but also too, options for us that if we don't want to work as many weekends, that time will come.
For now, it's all hands on deck as this family works to build its future on the branches of history's most renowned tree, a symbol of peace, prosperity, and good health from the past to today and for generations to come. For Leave a Legacy, I'm Clinton Griffiths reporting.
As a first-generation agripreneur, Jamie is blazing his own trail and living a dream. When we come back, I'll visit with Jamie and Nicole about commitment, family, and extended obligations.
Pioneer Hybrid proudly continues its legacy of supporting America's farm families by sponsoring the Farm Journal Legacy Project.
The things you need to protect don't always come with a timeline. If your personal goal is to make sure your family farm stays in the family, you need to know where to turn for advice. DuPont Pioneer proudly supports the Farm Journal Legacy Project, a valuable resource for your succession planning and your children's future. The family farm is alive and well. Pass it on.
More often than not, the best solutions are the simple ones. When it comes to corn refuge, simple is better. Simple is here. DuPont Pioneer revolutionized simple with the broadest lineup of refuge management products. Better choices. Make it simple. Refuge simplified by DuPont Pioneer.
It's all about simplicity, so you don't have to work so hard, you know.
He does all the planting, and what he always complained about it with this refuge, it was so much work all the time.
I don't like planting a separate refuge.
It was my perfect opportunity to buy the right seed, so I didn't have to listen to him complain no more.
Anything simple, that's what I like. I'm Terry Erickson.
I'm Ed Erickson Jr., and we're from Milner, North Dakota.
It's so much easier. You're just having a good time while you're planting.
Simply Better Forage. Advanced agronomic and nutritional expertise. More efficient rations through industry-leading corn silage hybrids, alfalfa varieties, and inoculants. It's what you need to get more from your fields, and ultimately, more from your cows. That's Simply Better Forage. Only from DuPont Pioneer.
With a young family, full-time jobs, and community service, how do these budding agripreneurs have time for farming? When I finally got to sit down with them, I asked them about their laundry list of obligations. Family first or farm first?
Family.
No, absolutely, family. And I think that's why you farm, for family. I mean, it's just as now with the 3 kids, seeing them enjoy it, that, all right, this is what you worked for. And I think they're at the age now, especially the 5-year-old, Jack, who has a lot of fun with it and really intrigued. So,
how do you teach kids that young to value the farm, or can you?
Well, you can value why Daddy's gone or that type of thing. Where's Daddy? He's at the farmer's market. Why? Because he's at the farmer's market making money. He's selling olive oil. Oh, okay, so why do we need money? Oh, so we can have a nice house and do nice things. And that he will repeat back to you, Daddy's at the farm making money so we can live in this house and we can have good food. So they understand the value of working. And I think part of what you do is set an example for your children that it's important to work hard in life to have the things that you want to have.
You know, in the old days, farming was a lifestyle. Today it's becoming a business and Dad goes to work. How will your kids see farming?
I don't know. I mean, it's just as positive or negative. It will depend on us and how we handle the pressures that come up with now the added, pressures of having children to balance the needs of everybody. But I don't know. I don't know if you can really fully answer that at this point. But hopefully they see it as a good, that there's a balance to it, that it's enjoyable.
They definitely have equity in the farm. This summer my brother got married, and at the rehearsal dinner my dad got up to speak. And my son, our 5-year-old, he wanted the microphone and he wanted to invite everyone at the rehearsal dinner to please come to our farm and come taste my dad's olive oil. And we have a pool. You can come swimming. And he was very much about, we want to share with you what we have and come try our products. Anyway, he's learned at a young age. He's very proud of what we have as our farm and our family.
Will they grow up with chores on the farm?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the biggest joke, and they don't know what I'm talking about, but they're always excited to come. We're going to the tasting room, and they run to the car, and I always look at Nicole and say, about 10 years from now, we'll see how fast they run when it's like Saturday going, we need to go to the tasting room. Oh, Dad, but I think definitely, and I think that'll be an advantage. I didn't have that, having a dad as a doctor, the ability to participate in that business and those options to experience work within a family setting. And I'm excited to give them that opportunity. But again, that'll be a balance too, and sort of what's their obligation, and then what is they can do beyond, just what their simple family obligation is. But we'll discover that out. But I'm excited that they're going to have that opportunity. I didn't have one.
And they like to have a job, even from a very young age. They want to feel like they're part of whatever you're doing. And they'll say, can you give me a job? They want to help when they come here. What's the job for me, Dad? How can I help you?
Perfect. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, Janie. If success is a team effort, and it is, who else plays a role in Lodestar? When we come back, I'll visit with Jamie's parents about their place in the operation.
The things you need to protect don't always come with a timeline. If your personal goal is to make sure your family farm stays in the family, you need to know where to turn for advice. DuPont Pioneer proudly supports the Farm Journal Legacy Project, a valuable resource for your succession planning and your children's future. The family farm is alive and well. Pass it on.
At DuPont Pioneer, we're with you every step of the way. Our accelerated yield technology system combines agronomic and defensive traits with elite genetics. Planted on more acres than any other brand, Pioneer delivers total soybean performance.
It's tough out here. But so are Optimum Aquamax corn hybrids from DuPont Pioneer. Performance and productivity under drought stress. Hot enough for you? Optimum Aquamax hybrids deliver, rain or shine. Only from DuPont Pioneer.
It's easy to use. Your planting windows are so small in the spring. We're able to put it in the planter and plant out the field. We don't have to make sure the planter's empty to make sure we don't have any more refuge corn in the planter. Our corn is looking really good. That's a tough thing to say in a year like this. It's a family-run business. I've been farming all my life. Been here. We were born and raised here. I'm Nels Kobush from Mobassa, Minnesota.
He's a doctor and she's a marriage counselor, backgrounds that don't lend a lot of support for the typical farming operation. But they believe in their son and they enjoy helping him fulfill his dream. When we sat down, I asked Carl and Gail about their commitment and the future of Lodestar. Gail, Carl, let's just talk about, usually when we talk about succession, we talk about a farm, the business, going from one generation to the next, usually down. Your son has kind of engaged you in a different way in his dream, if you will.
Right. When we first came here, we liked the property. And we had a gentleman that was doing all the olives, and we just let him take care of them. And then when Jamie decided that, I'd like to be a farmer and do my own, and get his own label and do his own thing, then I sort of got interested in the farm aspect. I was like farming. I love to be on tractors. I mean, which guy doesn't want to drive a big tractor, and do all the tractor kind of stuff and dig holes and stuff. So it was always fun for me, and it was fun to learn about olives and other agriculture. We are, we're knowledgeable about other products and crops that we've thought about growing here, but it was a little bit of a difference. Otherwise, we'd have just had a house on a hill.
So how do you make an investment in your son who has really no experience on the farm? He just steps in and says, I'm going to do something with these olives. Tell us about that.
Well, that was a little bit of a gamble, but Jamie's a very wise guy, and as you've been talking to him, you've noticed that he doesn't tell you something he's absolutely sure about what he's doing. And when he came with us, remember some of the ideas he had? Mm-hmm. We just laughed. Olive oil tasting room? Who ever heard of such a thing as that?
Years ago.
Years ago, and here he is, and people come and they like it and they have a good time. I never thought that would happen. Some of the other things, he designs a label that becomes a #1 label in the olive oil industry in the world almost, And so you look at this guy doing things, say, this dude can learn. And I think it's been proven because he's now, part of the California Farm Bureau, and he's educated himself and become a real expert. So his education is real. He just doesn't have a degree that says I've graduated, and a lot of people graduate and their degree is useless. So he didn't go quickly. He had facts to back what he was saying. So.
And he worked several years with other people who knew what they were doing, and he could pick it up real well, and in fact have better ideas about it too. So then we slowly but surely passed it over to him, Jamie, rather than the other people that were working for us.
So how do we separate Jamie the man, Jamie the Farm Bureau Vice President, Jamie the business owner, from Jamie our son?
He's still our son, and he still has a lot of respect for his mother, which I really appreciate. He's always polite to her and never, has respect, and I've always appreciated that about Jamie. And you see him with his kiddos and his wife, and you say, hey, this guy's a human being. And what he does is, for a living, is sort of secondary. But he's a neat guy. He works hard, knows things. He's not afraid to admit when he's wrong, which I think is a really big thing. But when he tells you 2 and 2 is 5, you better believe it, because he's got facts to prove that. And it's hard to argue with a guy. Mm-hmm. And there's been times when they've had olive oil tastings, and they've had 32 people, and 32 out of 32 pick his oil as the best. Give him credibility. So, but he works hard. He doesn't just sit around.
Well, I think we always look at him as our son. And then we just get more proud and more proud as we see his abilities just blossom and grow. And it just enhances, your son. And it's very exciting to see.
Nothing great is ever achieved solo. Lodestar is a family effort. When we come back, join me for Kevin's classroom. And later, I'll visit with Jamie about leadership, industry, stewardship, and commitment.
The things you need to protect don't always come with a timeline. If your personal goal is to make sure your family farm stays in the family, you need to know where to turn for advice. DuPont Pioneer proudly supports the Farm Journal Legacy Project, a valuable resource for your succession planning and your children's future. The family farm is alive and well. Pass it on.
At DuPont Pioneer, we're with you every step of the way. Our accelerated yield technology system combines agronomic and defensive traits with elite genetics. Planted on more acres than any other brand, Pioneer delivers total soybean performance.
It's tough out here. But so are Optimum Aquamax corn hybrids from DuPont Pioneer. Performance and productivity under drought stress. Huh. Hot enough for you? Optimum Aquamax hybrids deliver, rain or shine. Only from DuPont Pioneer.
It's easy to use. Your planting windows are so small in the spring. We're able to put it in the planter and plant out the field. We don't have to make sure the planter's empty to make sure we don't have any more refuge corn in the planter. Our corn is looking really good. That's a tough thing to say in a year like this. It's a family-run business. I've been farming all my life, been here. We were born and raised here. I'm Nels Kobush from Mobassa, Minnesota.
Welcome to Kevin's Classroom. Advice, ideas, and helpful hints to guide you down the succession planning process.
Who are the key employees in your operation? Is it a long-term or loyal employee? While valuable, he or she may not be the key to continuing success in the business. On the farm, a key employee may have a specific knowledge or unique talents that allow you to focus on other areas of the operation. Like other assets of the operation, human capital is crucial to success. As you factor in the key personnel during a transition, that worker will want to know, is my commitment to the operation appropriate? Are my contributions recognized and appreciated? What role will new management successor fill? As you wade into the succession planning arena, make sure to include your key employees in the discussion.
For more useful tips from Kevin's Classroom, sign up for Legacy Moment, a free weekly email. Visit the Legacy Project page on agweb.com to register.
It's all about simplicity, so you don't have to work so hard, you know.
He does all the planting, and what he always complained about it with this refuge, it was so much work all the time.
I don't like planting a separate refuge.
It was my perfect opportunity to buy the right seed, so I didn't have to listen to him complain no more.
Anything simple, that's what I like. I'm Terry Erickson.
I'm Ed Erickson Jr., and we're from Milner, North Dakota.
It's so much easier, and it's having a good time while you're planting.
Simply Better Forage. Advanced agronomic and nutritional expertise. More efficient rations through industry-leading corn silage hybrids, alfalfa varieties, and inoculants. It's what you need to get more from your fields, and ultimately, more from your cows. That's Simply Better Forage. Only from DuPont Pioneer.
The things you need to protect don't always come with a timeline. If your personal goal is to make sure your family farm stays in the family, you need to know where to turn for advice. DuPont Pioneer proudly supports the Farm Journal Legacy Project, a valuable resource for your succession planning and your children's future. The family farm is alive and well. Pass it on.
More often than not, the best solutions are the simple ones. When it comes to corn refuge, simple is better. Simple is here. DuPont Pioneer revolutionized simple with the broadest lineup of refuge management products. Better choices. Make it simple. Refuge Simplified by DuPont Pioneer.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Pioneer Hybrid, helping you get the right product on the right acre. Science with service, delivering success.
They may tire through the day and become weary with the workload, but they never lose the sparkle in their eyes or the spring in their step. Agripreneurs are the economic engine of rural America. Let's just talk about you and frankly, your leadership style, Jamie. You're a father, you're an entrepreneur, you have a full-time business here, you do work with the California Farm Bureau. How do you find time for all of it?
Well, I think I'm surrounded by good people that help me and allow me to do that and share that passion. And that's the key, is finding people that you identify with who share that passion with you. And I'm fortunate it's a family that recognizes that. That's important. It's important for the farm, it's important for me, but it also is something too that's brought us closer together, because we're more dependent on each other to cover each other when we're gone. And most importantly, finding a wife who is well aware of that vision and what's going to be required of her, and she has been just amazing to step up to the plate. And a lot of times I find myself she bails me out. What more can you say?
So you're speaking a little bit, I just read an article on work-life balance. How do you define that?
Everyone's happy when you get home, and the locks aren't changed. But I think that balance, I don't know if you're ever really fully there. You're constantly evaluating that week by week and month by month, because some weeks certainly are just crazy, and we see that in the farming. I mean, when it's harvest time, there's a month, 6 weeks there where it's just is nonstop. But at the end point is there's going to be that family time. There's going to be that time that we'll the downtime that we all look forward to. And that's why we work hard for this period, so that we can get to the point that really begins to strengthen us as a family and as a business. But yeah, there are times in every business and in every family. So it's not just we've reached this, this balance. It's constantly evaluated and reevaluated.
So how do you personally define leadership?
I think there's two different types of leadership. One leadership is you got the resources behind you, you got the group behind you, and that's the easy way to be the leader, because you've got everyone behind you, and maybe you're the leader because you have the resources or the experience. The other leadership style, which is more difficult, and that's usually which is an individual vision or passion, and the most difficult one is where you find yourself in a leadership position to get people where they need to be, not necessarily where they want to be. And those are the most challenging ones, but ultimately the most successful ones. All of a sudden, like, hey, yeah, this is where we wanted to be. And that's sort of what it was with farming. And that dialogue often goes like on the family farm side of those discussions of, I think we need to buy this bottling machine. I don't know if we can afford that. Yeah, but we're going to save money on this end, or those kind of discussions. And now you are standing up and have to be the leader and show them why they need to be there, which is different than someone saying, we're behind you, go get them. So I think there's kind of two different dynamics in the leadership styles or opportunities.
The demand for quality olive oil is enjoying a renaissance in America. Jamie and producers like him are at the forefront of this movement. Young people with great ideas, lots of energy, and boundless enthusiasm will change the world. They will improve things and create more than we can imagine. As an industry, how do we encourage their effort and champion their cause? As leaders beget leaders, successful farm owners nurture others. Until next time, I'm Kevin Spafford, helping you to leave a legacy.